Happy Victory Monday from the Purple Rain podcast and a special guest. So much to talk about on this episode of the Purple Rain podcast. Yes, welcome back to episode 276 of the Purple Rain podcast. The David Hale episode, Jawan James, John Simpson, Andre Smith, Ja Reed, Carl Powell edition of the Purple Rain podcast. Thank you all for coming through on your Monday evenings to spend with us on this lovely Victory Monday on that ass whooping yesterday at 1 o'clock on CBS. We have so much to talk about, but first and foremost, you can follow us on Instagram at the Purple Rain podcast. Follow this guy over here on Instagram, on X at Sutton Def. Heck, this guy below me right here on X at Huddle It Up Films, putting out the best film tape study out there. I learned so much from not only the videos, but the live stream. Check that out on Wednesdays, I believe is correct. You do go live previewing the games. Some high-level IQ ball knowledge. You learn so freaking much. You can follow me on Instagram at simplyas10.prod or on X at simplyas10. Most importantly, our sponsor, Manscaped. I actually got some hate on a mustache last couple of weeks, and guess what? It's gone. I gave in. It's gone. But I use Manscaped to shave it, and I feel like a new man right now. So use code PRP for 20% off your whole order and free international shipping. To clean yourself up. But first and foremost, how was your weekends? How was your Sundays? Both of you. I need to know.
Hold on. First of all, Alex, let me just say this really quick. You shouldn't have cut the mustache.
Listen,
you should have consulted me or something beforehand.
When your mother tells you it's got to go, mom gets number one.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah. Hands off. You're right.
I can argue with her. I can.
Yeah. That's big mom's. She wins every time.
Yeah, she won.
That's what it is. Okay,
won.
I got you. But yeah, my weekend was great. I was kind of worried going into this Broncos game. I'd be lying to you if I said that I wasn't. But then, by the second half, and we'll get more into this, of course, a little bit later in the show, I was really relaxing. But overall, a great weekend. But I do want to toss it to our very, very special guest. We've got him on for the first time this season. We've had him on the show before. If you're a new subscriber to the Purple Rain podcast, this is Jason from at Huddle It Up Films. Like my guy Alex just said, posts really, really great content on his channel. It's in the title. It's in his little title bar down there. Make sure you guys go ahead and subscribe to his channel, like his videos. Man, I'm telling you, you're going to get some value out of his content if you are a Ravens fan. But we're so excited to have him back on the show again. Jason, how are you? How was your weekend? How are you feeling?
I'm feeling great. Hey, just got the tape, just getting to the tape after the show tonight. Going to get on it. It's going to be a look at Tavius Robinson. So if you want to look at him on a snap-to-snap basis, I like to sometimes just look at the whole line, highlight a player on the line, usually for good reasons. I try to keep it positive, try to shine the light on the good things, the good games, and people, of course, will notice other players not playing well, which is also a treat for me because people are really observant. But Tavius and his however many snaps yesterday was really impactful, and we can use all the help we can get on that pass rush. That's for sure.
Absolutely. So, I mean, again, you just said you're going to drop a Tavius Robinson video from yesterday's tape. Make sure you go and subscribe to at Huddle It Up Films to see that. I know me personally, and I think I can speak for Alex as well. We will be watching that video. Because listen, I was going to save this for later in the show. But in the past month, Tavius Robinson leads this team in sacks. Okay? Let that sink in for a second. In the past 4 weeks of football, Tavius Robinson leads the Baltimore Ravens in sacks. If you're not a Baltimore Ravens fan and you happen to be watching or listening to this podcast right now, you probably do not know who Tavius Robinson is. I almost guarantee it. But that's the guy leading our team in sacks, and I think that's a huge problem. I'll get into it more later in the show. But we're so happy again to have Jason on, man. Just bringing that insight, man. We really, really do appreciate you.
No, I appreciate it too. And one more thing on Tavius. Yeah, one thing I've noticed just by watching him, I don't think he'll ever be, in my opinion, an 8-sack guy, a 10-sack guy. but he might be one of the better power rushers on our team, just as far as like pushing his guy back into the quarterback while still being able to keep eyes on the quarterback. So if that, like we saw a couple of heads up play from him yesterday down by the goal line where he's just in the way, causing havoc. So is he going to have like an array of moves that blow you away where he gets to 8-10 sacks? I doubt it, but he's a cleanup sack guy, a hustler, great edge setter, and can play a role like when we play these quarterbacks like Mahomes and stuff like that, the mobile quarterback, Josh Allen, guys, even Bro, who can get out of the pocket. Like Tavius is tough to get around on that side because he's real direct with his assignment and eyes on the quarterback. So I enjoy having him on the team, even though he's probably not going to be a star all-pro edge rusher.
Right. Yeah. And it's a very interesting point that you just bring up. Like, he's not going to be a game wrecker, but he's going to be a cleanup guy, right? And when I hear you say something like he's going to be a cleanup sack guy, I think, okay, that means he's going to be a coverage sack guy, and hopefully the secondary can kind of pan out a little bit more across the course of the season and start to generate more of those coverage sacks because we really have not been seeing that so far this season. Now, listen, we're already getting to some ball talk. I got to bring up who's here in the live chat before we get into any more. We got Mod K-Dog in the building, says, yo, Rain Gang family, what's good on this Monday after that ass whooping we put on them Broncos? That's right, belt to ass, man. Belt to ass, almost cursed. I don't want to do it. Quoney says, what's up, Rain Gang? What's going on, Quoney? We got K-Dog giving a shout out to the hashtag replay gang. Oh, yeah, that's right. If you're not watching this episode 276 of the Purple Rain podcast live, and you happen to be part of the hashtag replay gang, thank you so much for joining this episode of the show. We appreciate you for coming through. Make sure you like the video and subscribe to the channel if you are new. Helps us out a ton. We would greatly appreciate it. K-Dog also sharing that same sentiment here. Please smash that damn like button. It's free. Helps us out a ton. Thank you so much. Dre's in the house, says, what's up, Purple Rain Gang? What's going on, Dre? Shamil Malik says, what's up, Sutton and Simply? Hope y'all good. Yeah, man, we're great. After that big Ravens W, we're back in the win column. We're going to talk about it. We're doing good, man. We're doing good. Let us know how you're doing, Malik. Let us know. SG says, yo, Rain Gang, great game yesterday. Got to go make a move or two tomorrow. You guys see it in the title. Trade deadline news, speculation. What are the Ravens going to do? What are they not going to do? We're going to talk about that in this episode. Make sure you stay tuned. Like the video for it. Like the video. We got a lot to talk about in this one. Featuring our guy Jason from @HuddleItUp Films. See what else we got in here. Jabari Cruz Ellis in the house says, what's up, Purple Rain Gang? What's going on, Jabari? Appreciate you. Don Royal says, EDC needs to get pass rusher immediately. I agree. Chike giving a premature welcome back to Zadarius Smith. I wouldn't hate it. Just gonna say. Torres says, there you go. Simply the stash made you look old.
Wow. Okay.
Nah,
I'll take it.
Yeah. Taquan in the house says, what's up, Rain Gang? Alex and Sutton. We got Lisa Ann in the house as well. Says, hey, Alex and Sutton, I was 4 away from 45 to 10. Ooh, Lisa was close.
And
oh my goodness. Yeah.
She got her Pat Ricard touchdown. She got it.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
Good Sunday for you, Lisa. Very good Sunday.
Absolutely. All right, so let's go ahead and get into our first super chat donation of the night. Thank you so much, DB Official, making it rain here in episode 276 of the Purple Rain podcast. This was good, guys. Alex, how was the vibe at the game? Oh yeah, Alex, you were there. Before we get into any ball talk about how the game was. You were there.
I might be there Thursday too. Who knows? I might have to run it back.
No.
I might have to.
Alex, let him know the stat.
Every game.
Big money, Alex.
It's alive still. It dates
12-0.
New Year's Eve. Dates back to New Year's Eve 2006. My first ever Ravens game was the Ravens Bills. It was a snow game. I'll never forget that. Very young little Alex, young little boy was there. But yes, the record's still here. So I hope I go Thursday to see another win. Fingers crossed. Looking good right now. But great game was great. Fans were loud as heck. Unfortunately, no pre-snap penalties, but they were making themselves heard. And I'll tell you what, that second play pick, it was nice seeing Ardarius get that pick, get his hands on it. And like Dre says here, the Broncos fans, they were getting out of there at around halftime after Zay kind of just embarrassed their defense. They were one touchdown away from all leaving. We go out there and answer with a nice touchdown to open the half. They were out of there. It was empty by the fourth quarter. No more orange left, and just a whole bunch of happy Ravens fans. And even then, I actually sat back in the fourth quarter with my feet kicked up because the people in front of us left. So those are always the best games, when you're beating them so bad, even your own team's fans want to hit the exits early and get ahead, start on that traffic. But man, Thursday going to be a big game. Don't think it'll be a blowout like we saw, but one can only hope.
Yeah, wow. That is incredible. Incredible stuff, man. 12-0. I did not know that was the record. I mean, with you going to
I have
Ravens games, you're literally undefeated?
I have a whole notes of every game I've been to. If you don't know if you can see it. But yeah, end the year.
Oh, wow. I love
Yeah.
it. I love it. I love it.
That's a record. That's the perfect passer rating right there.
The 158.3.
Yeah.
There it is.
Yeah, I've probably only been to like maybe like 4 or 5 Raven games in person. No, I think I've been to like 4, and I think I'm 3-1. I think I'm 3-1 right
Okay.
now. As a matter of fact, the very first one I went to was in 2019. I think it was like week 3 or week 4 against the Cleveland Browns.
Ooh.
You guys know what happened in that game. Nick Chubb runs all over us. I was there in attendance for that. It was not pretty. But every game since then that I've been to, the Ravens have gotten the W. So, I'm 3-1, but this guy Alex is 12-0. Literally never seen his team lose in person. That is absolutely
Scary.
crazy. You might have to start going to some of these playoff games, bro. I'm not gonna lie to you. But yeah, all right. So let's get into some ball talk, right? We're already 11 minutes into the show. We got to talk about this game that we just had yesterday. We got Mod Boz in the house as Rain Gang. What's going on? Mod Boz, what's going on, man? Your Steelers run a bye. We don't get to talk about y'all this week. Maybe next week. Maybe. Okay. So it's time for some ball talk. Of course, as you know, brought to you by Manscaped. Scrolling across the bottom there, you can go on manscaped.com. Use our code PRP to save 20% off your order, plus free international shipping, which is always the kicker. Okay. So we want to start off with our segment that we've been doing all season long. It's called Name of the Game, right? Every Monday we get on the show and we kind of give you our title that describes what we think, how we think the game went, and we give it some context after that. I want to let my guy Alex start this week with his name of the game. His name of the game, Alex, you know what? Let me not speak for you, right? What was your name of the game for this one?
I didn't want to piggyback off Lamar, but it's the truth, and it is pick your poison. And I'll be focusing on the offense here. We had an elite tight end, Mark Andrews, only had 2 catches yesterday. We had a very, very good tight end in Isaiah Likely have no catches yesterday. A solid tight end in Charlie Kolar, not seeing any attention yesterday. And we saw our first round pick, Rashad Bateman, have 3 targets, and he dropped one of them. Only had 25 yards receiving. But it was Zay Flowers, who I can now comfortably say is our number 1, if you didn't know already, and he was making number 1 plays. That play at the end of the first half is something I really haven't seen from a Ravens receiver in a very, very long time, let alone from a drafted receiver, is insane. So I just think it's kind of hard to stop this offense when you don't know who's going to get the ball. Derrick Henry had 100 yards, and he was mad at himself. Derrick Henry is now turning into a receiving back, which is something we didn't even see with Titans, but he's out there, screens, catching them, going 20-some yards with it. It's lovely to see. Nelson Aguilar, deep passes, and hell, Justice Hill. Keaton Mitchell might be back Thursday, but Justice Hill, you can't take him off the field because when he's on the field and he has the ball, he makes plays. With this offense, pick your poison. Want to stop the run? Cool. We have the outside receivers to do it. Deontay Johnson, 13 snaps, not 1 catch? Who cares? He had 1 practice with Lamar. I'm not sweating it. Pick your poison. You want to go try to stop the pass? Cool. We have Derrick Henry, Lamar, Keaton Mitchell, and Justice Hill. Yeah. Pick your freaking poison.
Yeah. I love that. Love that. Jason, if you don't mind, I'm gonna go ahead and give my name of the game, and then you can react to both of what we just said, and then we'll go from there. But before we do that, we got Black Daniels, Mod Black Daniels, that is to you, in the house at Sutton, Alex, and my man Jason, aka the Beard, working and listening. Yes, sir. We see that beard. We see that beard on Jason. I haven't seen the beard on Jason. Honestly, this is the first time he's made an appearance with the beard. Explain yourself.
You need some gray. You need some gray in this program. I'm bringing the gray. So
okay.
I was a little, I don't usually rock the beard, but I'm at that time in my life where I just don't care, and I was going to shave it off, and then somebody in the comments said, "Oh, I like the beard," and judging by the name, it was a lady. So after that, I was like, you know what? I'm keeping the beard. Doesn't take much. So my ego was like that. So even Yuri was like, oh, all right, I noticed that. Yeah. So kept the beard, man. Kept the beard. So yeah.
Love the beard. As a beard guy myself, And as a Manscaped affiliate, I love the beard. Keep the beard, please. But yeah, all right. So let's go ahead and get into some ball talk here. Simply said, pick your poison is his name of the game. For this one, Broncos at Ravens, 41-10, just drubbing, right? My name of the game sings a little bit of a different tune. My name of the game, and sorry, fellas, if I put on my pessimistic hat for a few minutes, just a few minutes. But my name of the game is going to be Fool Me Once. Fool Me Once. And the reason why I have this name of the game is because, yes, the Ravens just got back in the win column, which I love. Yes, the offense looked absolutely incredible, as it has for most of the season, and I love that as well. But the defense is something that still, and I know they only gave up 10 points, and people are going to come at me. I know they're going to come at me. They're probably doing it right now in the comments. They only gave up 10 points, but I think it was a little bit misleading. I do. And I don't want to be fooled by the performance that we put out yesterday. Not a lot of Ravens fans like Shannon Sharp. But there is one quote that Shannon Sharp likes to say that resonates with me greatly. He says that I would never accept something in a win that I wouldn't in a loss, right? And I think that's very important to kind of note, because when you look at the game yesterday, you can look at the 10 points that the Broncos scored and say, oh yeah, the defense balled out. And I want to give my credit. I want to give my flowers to the defense. But when you also look at the fact that in the third quarter, the Denver Broncos only possessed the ball for 3.5 minutes of that quarter, right? And yes, I do know that the two of their possessions that they had in that third quarter were both 3-and-outs. Again, credit to the defense. But if the offense was not able to consistently stay on the field and put up points for 4, 5, 6 straight possessions like they were able to, and if Bo Nix did not miss a couple of throws down in the red zone on our side of the field, that could have been a dogfight. I won't be fooled by it. I will not be fooled by it. I do not want to see our defense still not being able to get pressure on the quarterback. There were moments in that game, especially in the first half, when things were still kind of neutral, like semi-neutral, like it wasn't the blowout, the route wasn't on yet. Alex, Jason, I know you guys both saw this at one point. Bo Nix was taking the snap, he was stepping back, and he was flat-footed in the pocket. Literally, not bouncing on his toes, not really looking around to see if he's hot. He was cool as a cucumber. Flat-footed, and just delivering the football where he wanted to. You know, it wasn't until the Ravens offense kind of overwhelmed the Broncos, right? And kind of really took over the game, made them super one-dimensional. You know, defense, you can pin your ears back, get after this rookie. That's not going to happen every single week. The last time the Ravens had kind of like a showing like that, right? I think it was against the Bengals, where we scored the same amount of points we did yesterday, but our opponent scored 38 because they had a competent quarterback, right? Not a rookie. And it was just mind-blowing to me to see the amount of Ravens fans literally on the internet this morning acting like the Ravens are just back. I don't think so. I sing a different tune today, and I'm sorry if I seem so negative. I'm sorry. But I'm just feeling like you cannot fool me with this performance. It was a great performance by the offense, but is the offense realistically, because we're only halfway through the season, this is our midseason assessment, is the offense realistically throughout the rest of the regular season and the playoffs going to be able to keep up this same pace if our defense cannot play complementary football? That's my issue right now. I think that the defensive performance, the 10 points let up yesterday, a little bit misleading. Again, Tavius Robinson is leading this team in sacks in the past month. I don't think that bodes well. And like our guy Jason said, he's more of like a cleanup sack guy. He keeps his eyes in the backfield. If something opens up, he's going to go get it. He's not a game wrecker. Okay, we can't rely on guys like that to save us in the playoffs. We just can't. So you can fool me once, but you damn sure can't fool me twice. And that's my name of the game. Jason, I want to toss it to you next. What do you think about my name of the game? And then also Alex's pick your poison name of the game.
Well, I'm going to start with yours because mine would have been along the lines of Alex. But, I mean, there's no denying anything that you say. As far as the fool me once, I think is a good title for it. There are so many issues on this defense as I see week to week. And the most troubling part to me is that it's different guys in with the same theme of miscommunication, disorganization. So in other words, we all see the ones that result in touchdowns. We see the coverage busts, two guys looking at each other. Wait, I thought you were supposed to be in this zone and I was supposed to be deep. Or I thought you were outside and I was inside. We see it on the big plays. But I mean, I was talking to our good friend, YouTube legend, in my opinion, Engraven, and I'm telling him, Engraven, this stuff's happening on first down when they're not even the quarterback's reading one side, and he goes immediately predetermined to read. It's happening on the other side when nobody else is seeing it. If you're like watching the tape, there's miscommunications all over the place, on the left, on the right, deep, short. The pass rush is a talent issue to me. We don't have enough, especially with Travis Jones hurt. That is really, really, we don't have another interior pass rush. Matabike is getting mugged. But on the back end, I looked at it for so long, guys, as a positive. Like, all right, we got talent back there. We're just disorganized. I've never seen a Ravens defense this disorganized. Zach Orr is more in the mindset of Wink, it seems like, where he's extremely aggressive. I want to see Zach just simplify things, sit back in zone, keep everything in front of you, and just tackle. That's what I'd like to see, because our strength is the offense. Let's play to the strength. Let's make teams execute again and again and again and again and again, all the way down the field, and wait for them to make a mistake. But as far as the pass rush, there's a void, a talent issue. I would love to see the Ravens just go big, get out of their comfort zone for once. If they had to give up a first-round pick for some superstar out there who we're not even sure is available, go ahead and do it, because if you do that, chances are it could be the 32nd pick. And then, kind of a long-winded answer here, but first thing I thought of was more along the lines of Alex. And I don't know if there's any Primus fans out there, but he had a song called Too Many Puppies. And on offense, we got too many puppies. And I'm going to count Todd Monken as one of the puppies too. Because I mean, how easy is it for us as fans to get frustrated by what offensive coordinator did? Like, other than the Wildcat play last week, which I thought was just the dumbest idea in the world, like Lamar changes the numbers, why not ever have Lamar in there? Like, we don't complain about Todd Monken, and he's given us some freebies. The screen game is officially back in Baltimore. Lamar is dotting them up all over the place. Intermediate, short pass, mix. We're not spamming Zay with all these short targets anymore. So Monken's a puppy. All the guys that Alex mentioned on offense are puppies, from your Justice Hills to Charlie Kolar. Interesting stat that I heard that I'm going to look for on tape tonight when I study it. Patrick Surtain was not targeted once yesterday. Now think about that. They move this man around. He is a traveler. He is one of those corners that want to take away what you want to do on that play. And Lamar just had the luxury of saying, that's fine, because wherever you are, I got confidence in another guy. Wherever Patrick Surtain is not, that they're going to win. And if not, I'm going to check it down, because Monken's giving me options. So, like, that blew my mind. I want to say it was on the guys who used to be PFF, they have their own show now, Perlazzo and the other guy. Anyway, they're on YouTube. They got booted from PFF, but they do their own thing. They said Patrick Surtain was not targeted yesterday, and that blew my mind. And it goes back to, we got too many puppies. You can't take away everything. You can only take away one thing. And I was just really impressed with this offense. That is just like, especially now with Deontay Johnson, gives us that extra layer. Zay was working out of the slot a lot yesterday. It's just hard to stop, man. So, yeah, I would just say, like, to transition into, like, the midseason thought overall is, like, there's nowhere to go but up for this defense, because Sutton is right. A competent quarterback. Bo Nix played well. I don't want to say competent quarterback. A quarterback who was on his game that day and doesn't miss throws. That's a much closer game, different story. Sean Payton went for it on fourth down a bunch of times, which I like, because he knew he had to keep up with Lamar. You convert some of them, it could be a different game. But there's nowhere to go but up for this defense, in my opinion. That's how bad it's been. Offense just got to stay healthy, especially two of those puppies. Got to stay healthy, and we're going to be a force to be reckoned with.
Yeah, absolutely. Big shout out to Lunch Break Hot Take in the building. Salute to you boys, man. Shout out to them. Make sure you guys go ahead and subscribe to their channel as well, covering the Ravens and the Panthers. Very, very good channel there too. Black Daniels in the house, that's LBHT, giving them the salute as well. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Okay. Alex, what else you got for me?
I mean, that was telling with the Patrick Surtain. I liked it a lot. I do want to talk about Zay Flowers real quick, because I think I saw a bit of maturation from him yesterday. All right. I think you know where I'm about to go with this, Sutton. I'm gonna flash back to January 27th last year. A
Yep.
play when he burnt L'Jarius Sneed and wanted to go and play tag you're it with him instead of just you trusting his speed. I think he's trusting his speed now because he shook somebody and outran the whole defense, looking like, to me it was like Kenyon Drake in the Miami Miracle. Like he's got something at the angle and he just takes the sideline and just runs past them all. Like that right there is, that yak is why I think he's number one in the league in yak in all of football. Like it's insane. Like this is the guy that we drafted, we grew him, and now he's number one in actual passing categories. It's insane. It's like this
It's
is the
like
guy,
yesterday, he realized that he has straight line speed. Like he
Yes.
can get around guys. Like you don't have to keep cutting back and forth because you're not fast enough. No, you're faster than these DBs. There were literally 5, 6 guys who were trying to chase him. He beats them all around the corner. I'd say realistically, maybe about 4 he beats around the corner. Bateman lays a nice low key block and he gets in the end zone. Oh my goodness, you were so right about that, Alex. And immediately after that play, I tweeted, I said, this was such a wide receiver one type play. The old Zay Flowers would have tried to cut back a second time and then got tackled at the 14 or something like that. And then who knows if we score a touchdown. We'll probably do, maybe do. But for Zay Flowers to put that stamp on it like that, that was definitely growth, for lack of better words. And I think he's really solidified, like you said, himself as wide receiver one.
He's a tough player too, because I can think of a former wide receiver one who probably just would have went down right there. You know what I mean? And not even tried to put a move on. It would have just been, I see 4 guys, let me get down. So his toughness to me stands out. And that's not a knock on a former receiver, but it's more of a say that to salute Zay. And I'm also seeing a progression in his routes. Like when I studied Deontay Johnson after he came here, man, is Deontay Johnson a route runner. I think Bateman's a really good route runner. I think Zay's a really good route runner. When you see Deontay Johnson run a route, it's something special because it's so predictable. It's so quarterback friendly. And the reason I say this with Zay is because I've seen him grow in this area. Zay can be like, he's got all the quickness, one of the quicker players in the NFL, but he can be a little unpredictable with his route running. Sometimes he comes out of the breaks at different speed. He's a little zigzaggy, not as precise, not nearly as precise as Deontay. But I've seen Zay grow in his route running and also like flattening his route, coming back to the ball a little bit better. All these little things that, like, he was such a big impact in the offense last year that you forgot he was a rookie. This is only his second year. Zay's going to continue to get better. And, my initial point, he's tough as nails too. Like, don't let his size fool you. He plays like a big player.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's at 654 yards now in 9 games. 9 games, 654 on 46 receptions. Looking beautiful. 3 touchdowns. He'll get more. But while I'm talking about yards, what's going on, Jeremiah? Our running back has 1,000 yards in 9 games. Derrick Henry, 1,000 yards. Washed is something I saw being thrown around when we got him. Overpaid, hasn't been good in how many years? 2019, 2020 was his peak. He's looking like the best version of himself right now. That who would have thought? Derrick Henry in 2024 is even better than he was, or even looks like the same as he was in that 2,000-yard year. Crazy.
Yeah, and I think that like the value that Derrick Henry brings to Lamar Jackson is something that we don't really talk about. We talk about, all the rushing yards and the statistics that, Derrick Henry's putting up by himself. But the fact that Lamar Jackson only has to rush for 4 yards yesterday and we blow out a team by 30, that is unheard of in the Lamar Jackson era. Lamar Jackson is normally running for 40, 50 plus yards in these type of wins. And I don't know. I really can't say enough how happy I am that we brought him in this offseason. And, Alex, like you said, there were a lot of guys who were saying that, he's washed, this is a 30-year-old running back. What is he going to be able to do? But obviously the value that Lamar Jackson adds to Derrick Henry, and on the inverse, the value that Derrick Henry lends to Lamar Jackson, it really makes for a very, very potent and, like you said, again, pick your poison type offense. And going back to Zay Flowers, who we were just talking about a few minutes ago, I think that Jason was saying just now, over the middle, those routes, he gets so open. Like his separation going over the middle has been absolutely insane. And part of that is because of the threat of Derrick Henry. I think the play yesterday, the touchdown to Derrick Henry, was play action. Fake it to him, right? He finds Zay Flowers over the middle. You see the DB kind of cheating his eyes towards Lamar Jackson in that backfield. Okay, is Lamar going to keep that, or is he going to hand it to Derrick Henry, or like, do I need to crash down on this? Oh crap, Zay Flowers is 3 yards ahead of me, 3 steps ahead of me. And by that time it's too late. So I just think that like it's a chain reaction on the value that's added, right? The value from Lamar Jackson gets passed through Derrick Henry and vice versa, and then that to the receiving core, and that's why this offense has been so multiple and been so dangerous and so potent. And man, I get so excited talking about it, but I wanna kind of shift gears here just for a second to the defense, right? And
Yeah.
I'm gonna bring up a point in the game yesterday when I was watching, because Alex, I know you were at the game, so you might not have heard this, but Jason and I were watching on TV, and at one point in the game, Jim Nantz says, because they cut up to a shot up top in the coordinator's box, right? And I think Jason knows where I'm going with this one, and maybe the rest of the chat does too. And Jim Nantz says, "Oh, there is Dean Pease up here, who they brought into a senior advisory role, and they said that his role has been growing, according to John Harbaugh." That's what Jim Nantz said. Dean Pease's role has been growing in this defense, and you could kind of see, based off of the type of defense that we were running, that there is some influence from that 15 to around that range when Dean Pease was our defensive coordinator. You could see some similarities, the cover twos, the different looks that we were running, things like that. And it made me kind of wonder, and Jason, I want to toss this to you first. Who's really running this defense? Like, is Zach Orr kind of the figurehead for it right now? And is Dean Pease really, really calling the shots? And how do we just feel about that? Jason, take it away.
Look, I love Zach Orr because of his story. I mean, you got to remember he played in the Dakotas. I don't even know North Dakota, South Dakota, undrafted guy, and then the way his career ended and all that. But there have been points this year where it just doesn't look like this defense had been practicing. Like I said, guys not lining up. Different guys. It's not like you can say, oh, well, this guy and that guy don't get this straight. It'll be Stevens and Eddie Jackson. Then it'll be, Marlin and Marcus Williams. Then it'll be the linebacker and the slot corner. And it's just like, man, nobody knows what's going on. And we're trying to do all this pre-snap motion right before the snap. How many times have you seen us give away the blitz this year? Where we're giving away like all this stuff. It looks like we're not well practiced. Now, Dean Pease was probably, and I say this with respect because we won the Super Bowl with him, but probably my least favorite coordinator that we've had, because he went into this safe shell and allowed teams to come back. But one thing I can't say about DPs is that his defense was disorganized. And maybe that's because you had Ray Lewis. Maybe it's because you had Ed Reed. But Dean Pease played it so safe and simple that there was never the threat of people busting coverages left and right. It just didn't happen under Dean Pease. So, like, I want to see Zach succeed. I want to see Zach be our next star, homegrown defensive coordinator, just like everybody else has come up through the ranks. But, I mean, it went from, week 3, week 4, oh, this will get better. They're working it out. Zach's just got to get in the groove. Players are learning each other. So now week 9, where I'm like, well, damn, it's week 9, and I haven't seen, like, not one bit of improvement other than the Buffalo game. Kind of seemed like the only game where stuff was clicking. So fool me once. So, yeah, like, and then with the whole Marcus Williams situation, too, that's another thing I want to bring up before I throw it this simply is, like, something happened behind the scenes there. And I don't think it was field related, performance related, because Marcus Williams wasn't the safety that was playing the poorest. So I feel like there's some like mini mutiny stuff we'll never know about that's happening with Zach, where he had to start checking some people, benching some people. Now Eddie Jackson's benched. So I'm hoping that it's a good thing. Like you said, not the biggest Dean Pease fan, rooting for Zach with all I got, but I can't view it as a negative, man, just because things have been so bad up until this point.
You know what? It's so very interesting that you brought that up. By the way, over 70 people watching live right now. Thank you guys so much for tuning into this episode of the Purple Rain podcast, featuring me and your boy Simply as Tim. We got a very special guest on, Jason from at Huddle It Up Films. Big shout out to him. It's so interesting that you just brought that up, Jason. Like some mini mutiny things that we will just never hear about, that the Ravens are just too professional to kind of let get out into the public, right? I think that there might have been some tensions that flared up between, players and coach Zach Orr. because you got to think about it. Zach Orr is a 32-year-old man. He's still a very young man, and I feel like the intensity that he brings and just kind of like that energy that he brings, like a younger guy, like a younger football player who's just hyped up, right? They might get into it one or two times and it might get bad, like just because again, it's two young guys, right? With an older guy, there might be a little bit more of like a maturity side to it, but I could totally see again, man, Marcus Williams and Zach Orr going at it. This is purely speculation, by the way. Purely speculation. I'm just kind of getting my thoughts off right now live on air as we got over 70 people watching. It's kind of crazy that I'm doing this right now, but like it's a thought. It's a thought to be had. But yeah, Alex.
My point with it is like there
Yeah.
seems to be a lot of BS going on, with the players that have been in and out, bench, not bench, starting with Malik at middle linebacker instead of Trenton Simpson, then going to dime, now back to like there's a lot of changes going on, and Marcus is to see Eddie Jackson was playing very poorly, so to see Marcus take the brunt of a benching. It wasn't for on the field performance. Strongly feel that it wasn't for on the field performance. Not that Marcus has been playing great, but
yeah. Alex, what are your thoughts on that?
I was sitting back and just observing because you're both 100% right. For a 6-3 team, there's too many distractions for my liking. Like that's more of like a 3-6 team, a 4-5 team, like we see at the Bengals with Jermaine Burton spotted at the casino, getting yelled at by Joe Burrow on the sideline. Like that's the type of stuff that goes on with teams that are not, that are losing. We're not. We're contenders. People are, putting us in at Super Bowl favorites and all that. I don't like it one bit. Like this is not the Ravens that we know and love, and I've said it before. I freaking had a rant last week about it. That was not a 10-point defensive performance. Arthur Millette was cooked by I think 3 or 4 steps. If that's Mahomes, if that's Burrow, if that's Josh Allen, that's a touchdown.
Oh,
and
Russell
that's
Wilson.
My biggest problem with it. Yep. Because I'll tell you this now: Russell Wilson and George Pickens can be the nastiest freaking home run floater, and Pickens going to catch it, make it look easy. It's going to happen against us. I'm already accepting it because I know it's going to happen. Yeah, and it's going to be on Brandon Stevens, by the way. Just letting you know. It's going to be because and
put
then
it on your parlay.
Over Stevens again. Yep. You see it there. It's nonstop, and teams are picking on Stevens. I think they got him for 5 receptions, 95 yards yesterday, I think was the stat. And there's, no adjustment. And this is no gripe to Stevens. Like, he's kind of being left out for dead by the defense, it feels like sometimes. Help him out. Like, get a little bit of help. And Marlon's not even being tested. If they're testing Marlon, it's 5 yards max. Marlon is not getting beat. He is playing at such a high level. I think he deserves more respect at this point. He has upped his game from that 2021 year where he was getting cooked. He's looked a lot better in my opinion. It's just this defense. There's no communication. You bring up the blitz. You have Trenton and Roquan both showing blitz, backing off. It's like, okay, they're obviously blitzing. They're not disguising it. We're bringing cover zeros on 4th down. Like you said, Wink. Wink is out of the NFL for a reason. This does not work. So Zach Orr, unless you want to be the next one out of the league, you got to adjust. It's not looking good. And I want to see a change and I want to see more. And I just don't have good memories of Dean Pease because my last memories is us blowing 2 14-point leads in Foxborough. And hearing him have more of a
pain,
more responsibility, that doesn't sit right with me. I'd rather not be him. So I need something to happen, I need something to fix up because there's too much money on this defense for it to still be last. But yeah, that 10 points, that wasn't 10 points in my opinion. It was a lot more against a much better team, and you cannot be deceived by that 10 points. Just you can't.
Yeah, you brought up Brandon Stevens and how like teams have been kind of like picking on him lately. I think we've seen a lot of that happen because the Ravens have been playing like a lot of like single high safety things like that, and just kind of leaving Brandon Stevens out on an island, which is going to be a lot tougher for him. And I think somebody brought it up here in the chat. Somebody said, just like, let's admit it, playing DB in this league is very hard because it's a pass first league. This is Go Man here saying that. Shout out to Go Man. And I agree 100%. And the Ravens have not been doing him a whole lot of favors. I think yesterday we saw a little bit more cover 2 looks. So, a little bit more shaded safety help over to his side of the field. But and Jason, let us know what you see. I can't wait to watch your videos on that. I know you say you're doing Tavius Robinson, but let us know what you see from the, the secondary as well in that, if you have time. But yeah, it's interesting to see because last year Brandon Stevens was a guy who was very reliable for us, and it looked like he was going to be a bona fide kind of like cornerback 2 fringe cornerback one for us this year, depending on what Marlon Humphrey was able to do. Speaking of Marlon Humphrey, he spoke today at a presser and said that his knee felt great. So that is also great news for us Ravens fans. We expect him to start on Thursday. But yeah, man, just kind of any more thoughts from you guys about yesterday's game? Jason, I'll start with you. Anything that was like a big takeaway from you that we haven't really talked about yet? Let us know what you're
Well,
thinking.
well, I mean, there's so many positives on offense. I saw. I don't know if we're derailing the show by bringing up defense again, but I feel like Eddie Jackson should not see the field again. And I listened to Harbaugh's press conference, and of course he's uh, effusive in his praise of Eddie Jackson. Had a good talk with him. Was one thing he said which stuck out to me. True professional. He is going to help us soon. All that said, like one play at the goal line when we stuffed the Broncos, one, less than a yard short of the end zone, on 4th down, really stuck out from Ardarius's perspective because he came charging in. It was a great route by the receiver. Well, I forget who the corner was, but he got beat, but he was immediately tackling the receiver. That said, the receiver's momentum was going to carry him into the end zone. Ardarius was Johnny on the spot, smacked him, didn't knock the DB off of the receiver. So he did it in a way where the DB could continue to tackle him, but just stop the momentum. Wide receiver down at the 1 yard line, Ravens ball. Um, Ardarius is a heady football player, and you're talking about someone who covers ground. Like my issue with Eddie Jackson was like, does he run and hit? Not really. Is he instinctual? Not really. Well, at least he's in the right spot all the time. No, nobody's in the right spot all the time. Is he a ball hawk? No. Like there was no specific thing. Like with Ardarius, he's going to tackle, and he's going to be very instinctual. So I'm excited to see Ardarius stick in that role. And I think that would be a good thing for this defense overall. That would be a small upgrade that has nothing to do with Zach Orr and the communication issues.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's a
Before we Alex, real quick, we got a super chat donation. We got 2 of them actually. I missed this one from the Don. The Don C. What's going on, brother? Dropping the 5-piece in the chat, making it rain here on episode 276 of PRP. Says, what a dub. How lucky are we to watch Lamar Jackson play on Sunday for our team? And I was just thinking about that earlier today, actually. He says, Sutton, Alex, Jason, and the best mods on YouTube. Salute. Football is family. Yeah, I mean, thank you again, Don, for your super chat donation. But no, I was literally thinking about that, listening to all the pundits and the national media guys talking about how Lamar Jackson's the best football player in the league right now. Whatever game he plays, he's the best player on the field. And these takes are so week to week with the national media guys. We lose a game and all of a sudden, oh, Jared Goff is the guy, and Lamar Jackson is nowhere to be found all of a sudden. And no shade to your guy Jared Goff, Alex, but yeah, I think our guy's better. Anyway, thanks so much, Don, for your super chat donation. We do have another one coming from D Was here, dropping the 2-piece in the chat as he normally would, talking about the officiating. Says, how was Adrian Hill yesterday?
I don't think bad. I wasn't
No
watching.
complaints here. No notes.
Yeah, I was ball watching at the game. Not gonna lie,
No,
I was ball watching.
Hey, we got a couple of calls that went our way. That perfect passer rating might have been restored on the defensive holding down there. I think there were like, I don't know, I can't remember, but it seemed like there were too many flags after the game was already in hand late. Like I remember just having this feeling of, can we get this damn thing over with, get out of here with everybody healthy and everything. And I'm like, man, the last thing we need is another penalty. So I thought they were a little over officious at the end, but hey, no complaints, man. You went 41-10, and Adrian Hill can do what he wants. So he wasn't taking that one away from us.
No, not at all. Yeah, I just want to get back to Ardarius. He does play like a pit bull, and I love that. Everything you want, and then some out of UDFA. As for Eddie Jackson, yeah, I don't know. I don't know what's going on with him. I thought it'd be, I wasn't expecting Geno Stone type numbers, but I was expecting him to get a couple of picks, be in the right place at the right time. It was that against the Browns, except he didn't come down with the interceptions. So if he's out, maybe it gives some, Bo Braid, get some more special teams snaps, and who knows what that can turn into for my little Bo Braid agenda. But yeah, I don't really see what he'll bring to the defense, Eddie. But I do want to talk about one other defensive player who I'm very disappointed in, unfortunately. A former second-round pick, Mr. David Ojabo, a healthy scratch for the second straight game. It's getting spooky out here for Mr. Ojabo. We had all these expectations, and he flat out hasn't lived up to it. He was on the field the first couple of games. He would play, get hurt, and he made plays against the Browns, against the Bengals. Had a strip sack in 22 last year, week 1. Strip sack on C.J. Stroud, out for the year. This year had a sack week 1 against Mahomes, and since then it's been nothing. So it's really disappointing to see him go this way. And unfortunately, I feel like his future might be in Seattle with Mike McDonald again, because I don't think it's here anymore with these back-to-back healthy scratches.
Yeah, Sutton, if you don't mind me going, man,
Go ahead.
I'm going to have to just say, it's looking like I was wrong on Ojabo. And it's just like the splashes are beautiful, bro. And we've seen them at the NFL level, the strip sacks, but maybe those injuries have like just sapped him of the explosiveness that he had in college and that we've seen on the NFL level, because the man's a natural pass rusher. He's like the opposite of a developmental pass rusher. He was ready to go, packaged. And now I think that if we do make a trade for a edge rusher, he would be the most logical guy to go to be traded away, because excuse me, he's already being deactivated. What are you going to do? Deactivate him and another edge if you bring in an edge player? So we already don't have a spot for him. If we bring in another edge, it would make sense to give him a chance somewhere else. So, but I loved Ojabo coming out of college. That's one of the guys that I thought would have some success in this league, and it's just kind of sad to see wasted potential like that. I wish him the best, because man, he is a very natural pass rusher. Eye for the ball. When he gets to the quarterback, he's slapping at it. He's causing strip sacks. So, just a tough situation.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, let's go ahead. Let's get into some around the league stuff, right? So I think we've covered the Ravens
Yeah,
game pretty much at
yeah.
length. So now I think it's time to get into just a couple of games that we kind of noted yesterday that we watched. Jason, I'm sure you watched some Red Zone, some football after the Ravens game, and you've probably been following some other teams. I know Alex has as well. Alex, I want to start with you on this one. What was one game that really had you taken aback yesterday? What was one game you were really interested in?
It was 2, and I'm going to
Okay.
leave my little bias out from the one game. I'm going to talk about the Jags and the Eagles, because I may have seen the most insane play that these two eyes have set their sights on. Saquon Barkley pulled out an NFL Street move. That was from NFL Street. There's what? A reverse hurdle? What?
That was crazy. I was like, bro, the craziest thing about that is like when he did it, like in real time, it looked like it was in slow motion. When they slowed it down, it looked even more unnatural. I was just like, bro, that is a move that they are 1000% putting in the next Madden game. I'm just gonna say that.
Yeah, that was crazy. I wish I would have got to seen the New Orleans Carolina game for the sheer debauchery of it, because how can the Saints lose, I think, 7 in a row now? That's like the old paper bag Saints when we were growing up. The people were the Aints.
Yeah.
To lose to Carolina, good for Bryce Young. I like seeing young guys succeed, but that's really rough for the Saints. I wonder if a guy like Chase Young could be available. A guy like Cam Jordan could be available on that team come tomorrow.
I just cannot imagine being a Saints fan and starting off the season 2-0, and then after week 9 being 2-7. That's just, I couldn't even. Wow, that is a slide if I've ever seen one. But Alex, what do you got?
I hate to say it, the cap has caught up to them. You got to blow it up at this point. What is your future? Please tell me. And you just re-signed Alvin Kamara. What's your future? Who wants to go there and play with Derek Carr? I think Olave, it's the head I word. You got to look at yourself. Is it really worth it? Same thing with Tua. Like, they're bad. Hospital balls from Derek Carr. Marshawn Lattimore could very well be traded tomorrow. Like Jason brought up, all the plethora of guys on their line. Like, it's time. Like, there is no future in in New Orleans for that team in the next couple of years, unless they get a quarterback. But yeah, it's caught up to them. Dennis Allen, I never thought was really the guy. Since Sean Payton left, they've had an identity struggle. Yeah, best of luck to the Saints, but not looking good for them whatsoever.
Blow it up.
Yeah.
You're not close. I agree with that.
Yeah, they're gonna be in cap hell for a little bit, but like just blow it up, and maybe in a few years you guys can bounce back. That's what I'm thinking at least. Okay.
Yeah.
Let me see. I think this one kind of goes hand in hand with one of my games that I was going to bring up. This one's coming from DOS Super Chat donation, dropping the two-piece again in the chat. Says, "Are you nervous about Andre Yoshivas on Thursday?" So Andre Yoshivas, rookie Bengals wide receiver. He's pretty good. He's pretty good. Let me go ahead and let you know how the Bengals performed yesterday against the Las Vegas Raiders, the same Las Vegas Raiders that the Ravens dropped a game to in week 2. Joe Burrow throwing 27 for 39, 251 yards, and 5 touchdowns with 1 interception. You got Chase Brown getting 27 carries for a $120, averaging 4.4 yards a carry. It's a pretty good game from him. Mike Gesicki, you got the tight end going 5 for 100 and 2 touchdowns. Chase Brown with a touchdown receiving himself, and then Drew Sample with a touchdown. Then Andre Yoshivas with 1 catch for 10 yards for a touchdown. So going back to DWAS's question here, are we nervous about Andre Yoshivas on Thursday? Probably not. I'm not as nervous about Yoshivas as I am about Jamar Chase, and T. Higgins is banged up, I want to say.
Yeah,
what is he hurt with? Yeah.
He didn't play yesterday. Also, didn't practice last week. T. Higgins
Yeah.
did not practice today again. I think it's a hamstring, Sutton. Also, same story for Orlando Brown Jr. Did not practice all last week, did not play, did not practice today in the estimated walkthrough. Obviously, that doesn't mean anything. But yeah, and then, of course, their tight end, Eric All, the reason why you're seeing those surprise numbers from Gesicki, their number 1 tight end went down with a knee injury. He was in college. He was red flagged coming off ACL. I loved him, man. I thought Bengals got a great player. I think he may have rushed himself back. Same knee, now destroyed again. And Yoshivas, one thing I noticed, I haven't studied the Bengals tape yet. Obviously, I got a lot to get to before Thursday, but a lot of 2 tight end sets. So you saw Drew Sample, long time blocking tight end, matched up with Gesicki, with T. Higgins out. Instead of them going with 11 with Yoshivas in the slot, it was Gesicki in the slot with Chase and Yoshivas outside. So could be some Yoshivas on Brandon Stevens. It could be one of those situations instead of the slot. And no one player makes me nervous, but I think Joe Burrow can take advantage of miscommunication errors with the best of them and deliver the ball on time. So I have our hands full.
Yeah, because I mean, he absolutely did that the week that we played them just a few weeks ago. There was pre-snap communication or miscommunication and confusion, things like that, and he was just dicing up our defense, and that was a big reason why they were able to hang 38 on us, and we had to put up 41 just to get out of Cincinnati with a win. So yeah, Thursday's episode, Alex, is going to be very, very interesting. I think in our keys to victory, because number 1, it'll be right before the game, and number 2, it's going to be a tough one. It's going to be tough because we've struggled all season long with teams who can kind of hurt us on the outside, on the perimeter, and that's what the Bengals kind of specialize in with T. Higgins or no T. Higgins. Joe Burrow is going to make it happen. He's going to make the throws that Bo Nix missed, and that's what worries me. So it's going to be a very interesting episode, very interesting game in itself. Before we get out of here, I want to cover one more thing before we leave you guys in this one. We're almost an hour into this episode. Again, we want to thank Jason from @HuddleItUpFilms so much for coming through. This is episode 276 of the Purple Rain podcast. We really do appreciate him. Trade deadline is tomorrow. And obviously, a lot of Ravens fans are expecting the Ravens to make another move. Obviously, going out and getting Deontay Johnson mid last week to kind of shore up the wide receiver room, give us some insurance there. But of course, the focus kind of shifts to the defense. What are they going to add, if anything, on defense? Is it going to be an interior D lineman? Is it going to be a pass rusher? Is it going to be a defensive back? I want to hear from you guys. Make sure you drop in the live chat exactly what you would want EDC and this Ravens team to go after before the trade deadline, which I think is at 4 p.m. tomorrow, if I'm not mistaken. But Jason, I want to toss it to you first and up to Alex on this. What is your wish list for the Ravens trade deadline?
First of all, just in case, I just want to make sure I get in. Man, thanks for inviting me, fellas. Like,
Man.
I feel like we don't do this enough. You know what I mean? It's easy to get caught up in our own things. And I love to have people on the channel. So that's no shot at y'all. It's more of a shot at myself. Like, I like sticking together as a community here and getting to be on. Like, your show is a lot like mine, as far as the laid backness / like the way we approach the show is very similar. That's why I'm always in here when I have time and I get that little notification bell. So I just wanted to thank you very much for having me in the episode. I had fun talking and all that other stuff. But the question, trade deadline. All right, so here it is, bro. Like, I feel like what I expect will happen and what will happen is going to differ for what I want to happen. So for those who don't know me very well, I'm a draft guy. I will be able to tell you all about between 200 and 250 prospects a year. I mean, I'm talking like where they went to school, what they do well, what they don't do well. That's my thing, man. Like that's my thing. So I value draft picks very, very much, probably more than the other fans. But this is the part where I feel like the Ravens have to get out of their comfort zone and be willing to part with what might end up being the 32nd pick overall, the 30th pick overall. There's a big difference between a top 10 guy, that kind of talent, top 12 guy in the draft, than there is those guys at the back end of the first round, and really try to spring a long-term piece a la a Roquan Smith, but at edge rusher. So you're talking about you're going to be paying a premium for a guy like that. A lot of teams are out of it. You can go through the list and you can find stars among all of their front lines. Like, look at Jacksonville. You got Trayvon Walker and Josh Allen. I think he hyphenated his name now. Allen Hines, maybe. You can go to like the Tennessee Titans, and there's a guy like Jeffrey Simmons who just signed a deal. So I would like to see us go out of our comfort zone and really like trade for a guy who's going to be here for a while. You don't want to give up a first for a rental. What I think's going to happen is a Calais Campbell, maybe a Chase Young from New Orleans, who's, if you look at his numbers, they're not very good, but he's got that pedigree. A Yannick Ngakoue type, just another edge rusher who can come in here. That's what I think will happen, but I would love to see the Ravens go big, inquire on the Max Crosbys, Javon Kinlaw might be a guy you take a look at for the Jets, but they've come back. I have a list of names of really talented guys from really bad teams, and I want to see the Ravens be willing to get out of their comfort zone and get one. Don't expect it to happen. I'm expecting a Calais Campbell, a defensive line enforcement, maybe another rusher, but nothing groundbreaking.
Yeah. Alex?
Okay. Oh, we talking about deadline. All right. I am looking at a guy, maybe Carl Granderson, also from the Saints as well. I'm looking, maybe this might be a hot take. This guy's 1 year left on his contract, I believe, but I still am not a big Falele guy. You bring up Jacksonville, Brandon Sheriff. I mean, if you really want to make this offense even that much better, you get a really, really good guard to thank you, Asmodeus, for the McChickens. Thank you so much. You could see, what do you want for him? They just let Robinson go to the Vikings. I mean, they're waving the white flag at this point. I think Peterson's probably gonna be one of the next coaches gone. It wouldn't surprise me. I'd make call for him, but edge rushing, I see people saying Clowney. I don't know how much we get a Clowney with in the Zach Orr system. I'm kind of skeptical of that. I have people say bring up Arden Key, but I'm still on the Azeez Ojulari, somebody that I know us two are really high on in 2021, and I'm still high on him in 2024, and nothing has changed. I love the way he plays. He's been getting in there, outperforming Kayvon Thibodeau, number 4, number 5 overall pick, a top 5 pick a couple years ago. Like, he's been playing that good. Ojulari, he's getting the snaps. I love what he does. But yes, I mean, if you brought Calais, I get it. I wouldn't, be running around the neighborhood with my shirt off. But if you could get me, one of the premier guys, the shirt might come off and maybe streaking come February when we win it. But who knows? I need something like that. But if we got Max Crosby, pants might come off. Who knows?
Tough talk. I don't believe that at all. Tough talk. Wait, what do you say to the ladies? Video or not? It didn't happen. Isn't that a thing?
Yeah.
A photo or it didn't happen. No photos, no videos. No. I'll take your word for it, bro. I'll take your word for it.
Yeah, but talking about Max Crosby, I think that's a good point that both of you guys make. Get out of our comfort zone and go all in, right? Like I'm a full advocate for F them picks this year. I talk about this all the time. The Ravens have very, very limited time. We are on borrowed time until Lamar Jackson balloons the cap, right? It's going to we're in a crunch time right now. We're in a window. So I think that it would be very, very advantageous for us to go ahead and just, like you guys said, get out of our comfort zone, go for a Max Crosby. The Raiders might be fire selling right now. They just got rid of Luke Getsy and two other guys this morning, right? Bright and early this morning. It might be a full fire sale. We don't know. Mark Davis, the owner, might have changed his tune a little bit in the GM about trading Max Crosby. We'll see. Who knows? But again, I would not be opposed to like a Zadarius Smith. Calais Campbell is somebody who also moves me as well. I think that just like I think that the vibes are a very, very strong thing when it comes to defense, right? I think that with Calais Campbell kind of inserting himself into this Ravens defense, and now all of a sudden, maybe you don't have to have Roquan Smith break the huddle before games, and they can go to Calais Campbell, and that can kind of regalvanize the troops because we know the type of leader that Calais Campbell is on the field, on the sidelines. Roquan Smith's been struggling a little bit in Zach Orr's system, but I think he'll come around. I think he'll come around when it's most important. But yeah, all of those names that I just mentioned would definitely do something for me. But let us know if you're not watching this episode of the Purple Rain podcast live. Let us know who you would want the Ravens to go after before the trade deadline down below in the comments. Please, please, please. Would love that. Would love that.
I have one more thing.
Sure.
I have just one more thing to back up the FM picks. Rasheen Ali, David Ojabo, Nick Samak, and Adisa Isaac. All guys that we picked that were all healthy scratches yesterday. Rasheen Ali, maybe he was a little hurt. Those are guys who, let's be real, haven't helped us at one bit since they were drafted. I know Nick Samak was this past year, but he's not seeing time. Don't be scared to give up that pick because a lot of them aren't on this team anymore. I'll go with your Ben Bredesen's, your Ben Masons, your Sean Wades. We can go back, to 2021 to the now where the guys are not on the team anymore. Sometimes let them picks go because you don't have a long time to be competitive in this league. Some teams do, but we've been competitive for a while. But go out there, and if you think this is a year when I think it's just the Ravens and the Chiefs and AFC that look like the best teams, go and get that much better. So EDC, F them picks. Don't pull a full Rams, but still go out there and make your move and make us a Super Bowl contender. Because I want to go into Kansas City, belt the ass, kick the door down, and end a dynasty. Because I feel like we're the only team in the AFC that can.
Hey, Sut, before you wrap it up, man, I would say, I'll push back on Alex some because there are more guys that were drafted by the Ravens populating the league right now than any other team. So we do a good job drafting. We do a good job developing. That's why there's more Ravens in the NFL than there are any other team. But at the same time, we're not changing our philosophy at all. We're not going to be the Rams anytime soon. So, if we give up a first-round pick and a player to go get somebody who can be a long-term, that's what I'm talking about. So, I don't want to demean. I'll push back as the draft guy, to demean the picks. I'm just saying, look, you see what Lamar Jackson's doing when he's healthy. This is his prime right now. You go in, you get yourself a dude, and you try to win it this year. And you can overcome not having a first-round pick next year if that's what it takes, because you're still the Ravens and you're still going to be smart. You're not going to be the Saints. So get out the comfort zone, go out and party and take a shot at Jack this one time. You'll be okay. You'll be a better man for it.
And think about the comp picks we have coming next year for all the guys we lost. We'll even get some of them picked back.
We're still the Ravens, man. We'll have our picks, EDC. We'll still have our picks.
Yeah.
Plenty of ammo. Give one up. Go get your superstar. And you know what? If it's a defensive lineman, we've seen Matabike kick out the edge and rush on the edge in passing downs. We've seen Travis Jones have success with that. It's got to be a defensive line superstar. Like I said, like a Jeffrey Simmons. Maybe you can pry Dexter Lawrence from the Giants or, a Deron
You bring sexy Dexy.
I mean, seriously, think big. I would think big on this and just try, because this is a great, great Ravens offense, the best I've probably ever seen.
Yeah. Agree. Very, very special Ravens offense. Just to kind of bring some of you guys' comments on the screen here. We got DWA says trade for Grant Delpit. Bring back Chuck Clark. He says he wants Demarion Overshown from the Cowboys. Okay. I mean, so DWAS has got a lot of requests here. Love what you're saying there, DWAS. I see somebody, Pretty Sunshine, says depending on the cost, Marshawn Lattimore. For me, I'm more of like a interior D line edge rusher guy. I think the problem goes from the foundation out. You know what I mean? Like I think that a
Yeah.
better front seven is going to help out the back end a lot more. That's just me. And I think that these guys would tend to agree with me there. Let me see. I saw one more in here. I have one more question. One more question that I have here before we go. Well, RJ says this. He says, I told Alex on the gram that I would say this next episode is the white gloves. All top tier receivers wear white gloves. LOL, great show, guys. Always good to hear your perspectives. Did he tell you that?
True. He may have. I haven't checked the gram. He may have. I'll have to check.
Okay. But one more question, a very interesting question here before we wrap it up. Make sure you guys like the video, subscribe to the channel as well if you are new. Let me see here. Goman says my only worry is Justin Tucker. Fellas, thoughts on Justin Tucker, who's kind of struggled this year. He's been up, he's been down. Jason, I want to toss it to you. Are we coming to the end of Justin Tucker's reign? Do we need to start looking in other directions, or are we just overreacting?
I just think that I don't think that I would say for anybody out there who's gone through their, I would say, what was Justin Tucker, 34, 35, 36. If I was lucky enough to be able to play sports at that age, and you do start losing some speed, some power, your reflexes, everything is just kind of taken down a notch. And the weird thing is, sometimes I would run from first to third base and I would be just as fast as I would ever be. Other times I would try to do that, and it took me forever to get there, and the guys would be ribbing on me. Damn, man, when did you get slow? You know what I mean? Same thing with my arm. I would see my arm, from age 36 to 39, like lose some explosiveness. Sometimes it would be there, sometimes it wouldn't. And I think that, I've never kicked before. None of us have ever kicked the ball at the level of Justin Tucker. I'm not even talking about how great he is. I'm talking any of these NFL kicker with the strategy and the coaching that they get. But I do think that there's a thing is like when you're a teenager and you're relearning, you go through puberty and you're relearning your body, you knock stuff over. You're not like, I don't know, it's the whole thing goes on. Like I had to relearn how to play and how to pace myself. And maybe that's what's going on with Tucker. Maybe that's why you see something like where he can't kick it's just not coming off his foot. When he's telling his body to do it, it's not doing it. So I think he can still have a long NFL career, but I think that he has got to learn his new body. That is just out there theory. I have no idea, but playing sports at that age, I can tell you, like you got to change the way you do things because if you're striking the ball the same way and you lost something, maybe that's what's causing the tail. Maybe that's what, that kind of thing where it just doesn't have the same pop to stay straight. Like it seems like a very intricate
Kind of
thing.
feels like almost like a mind muscle connection sort of issue.
Yes.
Okay.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I would have to when I would throw a ball sometimes. It wasn't like my arm was the same as it was last week, but maybe not like it was last year. So maybe I can't get it all the way to second base. Maybe I have to put it on a bounce this time. Things like that. Flag football would have to change my routes, just to be more smart with it instead of just relying on athletic ability. So I think again, with kicking, I have no idea, but I think that he might have to change the way he's striking the ball and just kick it straight through.
Yeah, and then Goman brings up how he missed the kick against Cleveland and could have maybe won the game. But yeah, so hopefully he can get that together. You see it in a lot of sports, see it in soccer a lot. Guys who get older, but they use their mind more than their physical ability. So not sure how that worked with Tuck, but yeah, great show though. Fantastic show.
Great show. Fantastic show. Thank you so much again.
Wait,
Jason,
one more
for coming
comment.
on. Oh, we got one more.
One more. Look, I want to pump up Jason's head. K-Dog says, love listening to football with dudes from my era. Thanks for this, Jason.
Okay.
You're very welcome, K-Dog.
We can talk about the
Very
Will
welcome.
Demps, the DeJuan Landry. We can go back if we want to,
with that Chase Brown had 27 carries yesterday. Is that what you said, Sutton? Chase Brown for the Bengals. So your number one running back had 27 carries, and you're playing again on Thursday. Ooh, I kind of like the way that
Zach
sounds.
Moss is out.
Yeah, because back
Oh,
in me
God.
and K Dog's days with the gray beards here, you got 25 carries every week, son. It was a running back league. It wasn't like Joe Burrow's coming to town. It'd be like Chase Brown's coming to town. You know,
Yeah.
Jamal Lewis is coming to town. Tiki Barber's coming to town. That
Right.
kind of stuff. It wasn't the
Ooh,
quarterback. So
ooh.
Jerome Bettis is coming
yeah.
to town. Yeah.
Right,
LT.
man. Like that's what you look forward to. So I do miss that about the old era. Was those workhorse backs. The game's better than it ever been before, but it was something about that. Like, fellas, it's a double chin strap game. Jerome Bettis is coming to town, and he's getting the ball 30 bleeping times. So let's just see what him and Ray Lewis have in store. Different style.
Yeah.
Of course.
Bob's giving a
Our
shout out to the
Steelers.
bus.
The bus.
The Steelers, our Steelers mod in this Ravens
Eddie
live
George
stream, man.
too. Eddie George. It was never the
Yeah.
Steve McNair coming to town. It was Eddie George just getting the ball 100 times, and it's
Right.
going to be epic.
Yeah, man. The backs era. That's right, Jeremiah. The backs era. Jeremiah's also giving a shout out to the collaboration. Says, love the collaboration, man. Yeah, like Jason said about 15 minutes ago, we don't do this enough, right? We got to do this more often. It's always fun, genuine,
Yeah.
engaging, informational conversation when we have Jason from @Huddled Up Films on. So make sure you guys give a round of applause to Jason. He is a very, very special guest on this show. Make sure you guys go ahead and subscribe to his channel, like his videos. Let's hype him up. You guys can follow him on Twitter as well, right? What's your handle on Twitter?
It's @Huddled Up Films, Tavius Robinson film coming soon. Hopefully, I get our Darius Washington cut up in there as well. Maybe his coverage snaps will be enough for that. And then on Wednesday night, 9:15 live, I'll be with Yuri. Alec Polianis fills in for us sometimes there with a matchup show detailing these. We'll go through the lines of scrimmage too, where we're strong, where they're strong, where we're weak, where they're weak, and try to figure this out. And we already got a one-game advantage. But, yeah, man, we got to get you guys on my channel too, man. I love you guys. I appreciate it. Football's family.
Yeah. Football's family, man. I love you too, bro. Thank you so much again for having us on. Alex, you got something?
K-Dog says, hey, diddle Mitchell at the middle. You wouldn't be talking about Lionel Mitchell from the Baltimore Colts, would you, K-Dog? You wouldn't be talking about Lionel, would you?
That was when that was when Ted Marchibroda was the offensive coordinator or head coach the first time.
Oh man, sorry.
Yep.
Didn't want to throw it back too far.
I see multiple Mitchell talks in the chat. I see Mitchell playing on Thursday. We didn't even mention
running off the key.
I don't know. I mean, he practiced in full. He's got like 4 or 5 straight full practices. He might play.
5 touches, 25 yards, 525 for Keith Mitchell.
Oh, and I bet you his FanDuel line's going to be 27.5. I bet you it is.
Okay.
We'll see. We'll see.
I can't wait.
Thursday's episode. Again, we want to thank Jason so much for coming on this show. Again, you can follow us on Instagram @ThePurpleRain Podcast. You can follow me on X or Instagram @SuttonDef. You can follow this guy over here on X @SimplyAS10 or on Instagram @SimplyAS10.prod. And like he led the show with, our sponsor, Manscaped. You can go on there, do all the Christmas shopping you want, fill your cart up to the sky, and save 20% off with our code PRP plus free international shipping, which is always the kicker. Again, we want to thank each and every one of y'all for coming out to this show and watching live. If you're not watching live, you're part of the #replay gang. Make sure you go ahead and rewind for us, right? Watch it from the top. Had a lot of good conversation on this episode as we're about $1:13 in. Again, very, very, very special shout out and thank you to Jason from @Huddled Up Films. Make sure you follow him on everything. That's YouTube subscription. That's Twitter. That's wherever else you can find him. Make sure you follow him. Tavius Robinson, All 22 Film, is coming soon. I will be tuned in. I know Alex will be tuned in. You need to be as well. Because again, like I led the episode with, Tavius Robinson leading the team in sacks in the past month. So it's going to be worth the watch. It's going to be worth the watch to see what this guy has and see if it jumps off the screen to you. Again, I'm talking a lot. Jason, we love you. We appreciate you for coming through. We will have you on next time. This has been awesome, man. This has been awesome. Any last words from you?
No, just thanks so much. Love you guys. Love the chat. Chat was awesome, man. Football's family. Love it. And please comment on those videos too. Let me know what you see from not only Tavius, but the other guys. And do you disagree with me? Do you think he could turn into more than a cleanup sack guy? Can Tavius be an 8 sack a year guy? I'm interested to see what he does on those plays that we don't notice on TV.
Yeah. Very, very, very interested. And yes, with that being said, I'm going to let my guy Alex take us out.
Thank you for coming through episode 276 of the Purple Rain podcast. As always, stay positive, test negative.
Yes. And never, ever, ever forget, even on the rainiest of days, to call guys. In episode 276 of the Purple Rain podcast, we're going to catch you guys in the next one. Peace.